Does it really cost more to eat healthy? Perhaps you've seen headlines about healthy food costing more than unhealthy foods, or you have an intuition that healthy eating is more expensive. Conventional wisdom holds that healthier foods and diets are more expensive than less healthy options. What we found through experience is that we are actually saving money by eating a whole foods plant-based diet. Along the way, we learned that we are improving our own health and the health of our planet. In this video, let's examine this idea that eating healthy is too expensive, some of the work that has been done to capture healthy diet costs, our receipts for eating a whole foods plant-based diet, and some strategies for saving money while eating healthier. According to the USDA, in 2021, U.S. consumers spent an average of 10.3% of their disposable personal income on food, divided between food at home, 5.2%, and food away from home, 5.1%. We spend a lot of money on food, so you would think we would have a really good perspective on its cost. Take a look at this recent headline. Americans cite cost of healthy food as biggest barrier to a heart-healthy diet, according to the Cleveland Clinic survey. Almost half the people surveyed in this national survey view the most common barrier to a heart-healthy diet as cost. 46% of the people view healthy food as being more expensive, while only 23% cited lack of time to prepare healthy meals, and 20% cited unfamiliarity with healthy ways of cooking. As it turns out, we consumers have a bias that healthier food is more expensive, what these authors call an intuition. The authors of this article in the Journal of Consumer Research were trying to understand consumer decision-making about food, specifically healthiness and price. They found that consumers believe that healthier food is more expensive than less healthy food. While it may be true in some cases, the authors found that we, the consumers, overgeneralize and have this healthy food is expensive stereotype in all categories, even when it's not true. And this intuition drives our decision making. This intuition can act as a bias in shaping how we process information about health and price, even our perception of how healthy a given ingredient is and whether we investigate the information to evaluate a health claim. The same authors write in the Chicago Tribune article, across 5 studies, we showed that even in food categories where there is no relation between price and health, the healthy equals expensive intuition affects how consumers make decisions about food. Because we have these biases, accumulating knowledge, investigating, seeking more information is the key. As the authors write, a simple solution to overcoming the influence of the intuition is to seek out more information before you buy. Now let's look at the cost of plant versus animal protein diets. One of the objectives of this study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition was to compare plant protein with animal protein diets by diet cost and quality. The researchers write, diets with higher energy from plant-based proteins were in turn found to be much higher quality, and isocaloric diets higher in plant-based sources of proteins need not cost more. They report higher costs for a higher consumption of animal protein. They summarize, the recent Eat Lancet initiative promotes an immediate shift towards plant-based dietary patterns as a sustainable solution to healthier diets and planet. Such patterns are characterized by higher intakes of fruits, vegetables, nuts and seeds, legumes, and whole grains, with limited intake of animal-based sources, saturated fats, and added sugars. Our findings suggest that it may indeed be feasible to achieve such diets at no additional cost. In this study from The Lancet, the researchers took a global approach to comparing the costs of current diets to flexitarian, pescatarian, vegetarian, and vegan diets. They regionalized the scenarios by preserving each country's relative preferences for the types of grains, fruits, red meat, and fish. Take a look at this figure. It shows a combined chart of a global view of the 2017 costs of the current or benchmark diet and flexitarian, pescatarian, vegetarian, and vegan diets. Then the same charts for countries grouped by income from high income to low income. They write, compared with the cost of current diets, the healthy and sustainable dietary patterns, that is, predominantly plant-based, We're depending on the pattern up to 22 to 34% lower in cost in upper middle income to high income countries on average, but at least 18 to 29% more expensive in lower middle income to low income countries. Could costs be brought down for the two groups of lower income countries? The researchers projected the costs for 2050 with conditions for reductions in food waste, a favorable socioeconomic development scenario, and diet-related costs of climate change and healthcare. They write, when these measures were combined, the healthy and sustainable dietary patterns were up to 25 to 29% lower in cost in low income to lower middle income countries and up to 37% lower in cost on average for the year 2050. Variants of vegetarian and vegan dietary patterns were generally most affordable and pescatarian diets were least affordable. In other words, yes, costs for plant-based diets could be reduced for everyone across the planet, with vegetarian and vegan diets as the most affordable. Let's take a look at my cost data for early 2023. Costs can be measured several ways, such as price per calorie, price per serving size, and price per meal. For the following examples, I took the price from the receipt, then calculated the cost of the item for the meal. For example, the arugula lasts 7 days for 3 people, so the cost per meal would be $2.99 divided by 21. What is most striking to me is the healthfulness of the plant-based meals. As you can see here, breakfast costs are pretty close. My plant-based breakfast comes in at $2.10 with oatmeal, blueberries, raspberries, flaxseed meal, and shredded wheat cereal. My former animal-based breakfast with scrambled eggs, toast, bacon, orange juice, and butter comes in at $2.47. Here are the costs for a snack: an apple for 24 cents and a fun-sized candy bar at 21 cents. The cost for our Mondo salad includes 14 different items, including kale, spinach, carrots, and balsamic vinegar as the salad dressing, and chia seeds, hemp hearts, and nutritional yeast on top. For most lunches, we'll eat leftovers with our salad. In this case, I added in the cost of our Southwestern sweet potato with all the toppings and a clementine for dessert. The plant-based lunch comes to $5.75. I have 2 animal-based lunches here, depending on buying lunch or making lunch at home, $8.24 away from home or $3.62 at home. My stir-fry plant-based dinner with rice noodles, vegetables, and tofu comes in at $2.22, while my animal-based dinner is $5.12. So the totals are $10.31 for a plant-based day, $16.04 for an animal-based day with buying lunch, and $11.43 for an animal-based day with making lunch at home. Just a rough estimate over a year, we could save $407.67 compared to the animal-based at-home lunches, or $2,092.57 compared to the animal-based away-from-home lunches. Eating healthy on a whole foods plant-based diet can save money. Let's take a look at a few strategies for saving more money while eating healthy. This study, the Seattle Obesity Study, looked at dinner data from 437 adults and found the same results as we did. The sample was broken down into the high group, who cooked dinner at home 6 or more times a week, the medium group at 4 to 5 times a week, and the low group at 0 to 3 times a week. This table shows the low cooking at home group spent a total of $330 for dinners cooked at home and dinners away from home. The medium group spent $291, while the high group spent a total of $273. For these study participants, more frequent home cooking was linked with overall less cost. The researchers conclude more frequent home-cooked dinners were associated with higher quality diets at no extra cost. By contrast, frequent meals away from home were associated with lower quality diets and higher self-reported food expenditures. Cooking more at home is our first strategy for saving money and eating healthier. Our second strategy for saving money is to focus on starches like potatoes, sweet potatoes, rice, corn, and oats. These starches are filling and inexpensive. Check weekly grocery store ads for sales on seasonal fruits and vegetables. Some grocery stores will run a special for the week on seasonal produce. Wondering what's in season? The USDA has a guide just for you. Our fourth strategy is to check the clearance area of your grocery store for discounts or sales on slightly damaged or older fruit. My sister-in-law can buy a paper bag filled with about 3 bunches of bananas for $1 at her area grocery store. The bunches have all been split apart, so that's probably why they are on sale, but they are fresh and in great shape. She freezes these bananas for her Yonanas machine and makes delicious ice cream-like desserts. You would be amazed by the sweetness and consistency that is just like ice cream, without the dairy, fat, and added sugar. One of her surprising recommendations is grapes and apples with the bananas. And it's not just bananas that she finds in the clearance area. She has found avocados, apples, and pears too. Another strategy is to buy in bulk. This works great for canned vegetables and produce, especially for all the vegetables in our Mondo salad. If you have an Instapot, dried uncooked beans and lentils are cheap and easy to store. Don't forget to buy frozen. Frozen fruits and vegetables last longer, so you can cut down on waste. Fruit is picked at the peak of their ripeness, so to us the frozen blueberries taste even sweeter than fresh, if that's possible. The last idea for saving money while getting back in touch with nature is to start a garden or food forest, or even plant basil seeds in a pot on your windowsill. The miracle of a seed sprouting and growing into a beautiful basil or kale or snow pea plant with a combination of sunshine and your care and attention is uplifting. Still skeptical? How about one last example? Check out this blog post on the Forks Over Knives website. The author took on a personal challenge to eat on $1.50 a day for 5 days. Here's what the author bought: a 10-pound bag of potatoes for 99 cents, a 2-pound bag of carrots for 99 cents, a 1-pound bag of brown rice for 99 cents, a 1-pound bag of lentils for 99 cents, 2/3 of a pound of brown rice pasta for 99 cents, 2 cans of tomato sauce for 99 cents, a half a pound of oatmeal for 42 cents, a lime for 33 cents, and spinach for 45 cents, and set aside 30 cents for spices from the pantry for a total of $7.50. The menu changed each day and included masala mashed potatoes, lentil stew with carrots and brown rice, oatmeal with carrots, and pasta with tomato sauce, lentils, and carrots. The author writes, "I also realized that living on a healthy plant-based diet does not have to be expensive. While eating a plant-based diet on $1.50 per day was inconvenient and challenging, I found it to be surprisingly satisfying. It is still entirely possible to be sufficiently nourished even at that level. This $1.50 diet is limited in ingredients, but the menu is creative and diverse. This may not be exactly how you'd like to eat a plant-based diet, but know that it is possible to eat healthy on a budget." So there you go. Cook more at home. Focus on starches, check weekly ads for sales on seasonal produce. Check the clearance area. Buy in bulk, buy frozen, and start a garden. You can save big or really big. Dr. Will Tuttle discusses eating a plant-based diet in the World Peace Diet. Everyone on Earth could be fed easily because we currently grow more than enough grain to feed 10 billion people. Our current practice of feeding this grain to untold billions of animals and eating them forces over 1 billion of us to endure malnutrition and starvation, while another billion suffer from the obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and cancer linked with eating diets high in animal foods. 7410 Style is not just a diet, it's a different way of life, a way to take charge of our health and enjoy food. We don't think of it as relying on our intuition, but making educated choices on putting clean, healthful foods into our bodies. The good news is that it's worth it. It can fit into your budget and even save you money, with the added benefit of improving our health and the welfare of all beings on our planet. So keep on saving, or start if you haven't, and remember to take it one day at a time until it's 7 days a week, forever 10.